The three stages of motor learning are cognitive, associative, and autonomous. The first stage is the cognitive stage. During this stage, we want patients to focus on improving motor performance. We want them to understand what it is that we want them to do, and we want them to gain the knowledge, as much knowledge as possible about the task. So we see a lot of trial and error during this phase. However, that's to be expected. Our learning environment is going to be a closed environment. We don't want a lot of distractions during this phase because this is where the patients this is the initiation of learning how to perform the task that we want them to perform. So it's going to be a step-by-step approach. We're going to break down the whole task into parts, and the patient is going to practice parts of the task continuously, repetitively, as we move through the cognitive stage. We're also going to provide feedback to that patient. So it's going to come in the form of what we term concurrent feedback. So as they're performing that a part of the whole task, we are providing input on what it is and that they can correct or improve upon. We are also providing an evaluation of their performance as they go through performance of the task. Their practice is again going to be continuous. It's going to be hopefully more so than they have rest breaks. So we term that mass practice, where they're practicing more than they're resting. Block practice, where we are again looking at taking a whole task and breaking it down into parts, and they practice one part before moving on to the next, and they practice that part repeatedly. So as they move to the associative phase, we are looking to bridge, and we're looking at this as a bridge between cognitive and autonomous. So we're moving higher up the level. So we're still having things that we incorporate from the cognitive stage, but we're also wanting to pull some things from that autonomous stage as well, so that they can work towards motor learning. So we're still looking at working on motor performance during this stage, as well as incorporating some motor learning tools to be able to get them to move more toward the autonomous level. Our environment is typically going to be closed because we want to not have as many distractions while the patient is learning how to. So during this part, we're learning how do I move my body during this time. So how do I need to situate my arm to perform more efficiently? How do I need to situate my legs to perform more efficiently? How do I need to move my trunk? And so on and so forth. So we're looking at more proprioceptive cues in comparison to the visual cues that we offer more during the cognitive stage. Feedback is going to be in the form of summary feedback, so we're providing an overall description of how they performed. We may also delay the amount of feedback that we provide. It's still going to be substantial, but it's not going to be as often. So we're delaying providing input to the patient because we again want to promote them to move more autonomous stage. So how we want them to be able to self-evaluate and look at how they can fix or improve during their task performance. And then the autonomous stage, and I failed to mention that random practice during the associative phase is a type of practice that we use where they don't necessarily work in sequence anymore, but they are kind of mixing things up and practicing maybe something that goes at the end of the task before practicing something at the beginning. So they're mixing things up and randomizing the practice schedules. The autonomous stage, the patient is more on an individual basis. They have massive motor performance, and now they are in the motor learning stage. So we're looking at repetitive practice again. And we're also looking at providing feedback, but not as much feedback or not often, but we're looking at providing maybe feedback at the end of the performance of a task. Or overall, we're summarizing how their performance was. And they're also using more intrinsic feedback during this stage. So we still have some extrinsic going on, but we want them to be able to, they know what it is that they need to fix during this stage. And so practice schedules are going to vary again. So we want to look at more of an open environment where they can challenge themselves, or we can challenge them as far as task performance. And then also dual tasking, so incorporating other tasks with that main task during this phase. Um, they may practice the task as a whole. They can practice it in parts. It's just up to them. But they know how to do the task, and now we're just working on improving the learning, the motor learning aspect of it even further. Thank you.